I'm Nicki Minaj, and this
is Authenticity Radio.
Authenticity Radio with Slade Sutter.
Let's go to the beach, each, let's go get a wave. They say what they gonna say. Have a drink, clink, found a Bud Light. Bad like me, it's hard to come by. The Patron, let's go get it down. The sound, yes, I'm in the zone. Is it 2, 3? Leave a good tip.
And now, your host, who has the hospitality of a fat and jolly innkeeper, Slade Sutter.
Hello, this is Slade Sutter broadcasting live from Barcelona, Spain today. And the sun is out. The last few days we had a lot of rain. And to many people, rain is kind of a sad thing or something to be postponed until another day. And the sun is always wanted. But when you speak to farmers and gardeners, they understand the importance and the life-giving properties of rain, and it is always welcomed. Today, we have with us Juliet Yelverton, who is from Glastonbury, Somerset, United Kingdom, where she has created the Healing Gardens Cooperative. What is that, you ask? Well, that is one mighty big garden, and she created it. And I'm very happy to welcome you, Juliet. Welcome to you.
Hi, Slade. It's really lovely to speak to you this morning. And I have to say that here is extremely misty. We're in the famous mists of Avalon. This is the Sacred Isles of Avalon in Glastonbury, UK. And I'm sure the sun will come through later, but it's very, very deep in mist at the moment.
Welcome to you, Juliet. I'm very thankful that you are taking time out of your schedule to be with us on Authenticity Radio today.
It's my pleasure.
Juliet, you've established the Healing Water Sanctuary in Glastonbury. Right. And this is also an interdenominational spiritual retreat center.
That's correct, yes.
And before we get to either the Garden Cooperative or the Spiritual Retreat Center, I would just like our listeners to know a little bit about who you are and your background, and how did you get to do what you're doing today? Yeah, just a little bit of background of who you are.
Yes, it's been a long journey for me, and it's been a journey from difficult beginnings to a wonderful flowering, I feel now. In my past background, I had a tremendous amount of difficulty and trauma, which eventually led me to specialize in working with trauma. But the thing that from the very beginning helped me heal from trauma was my connection with nature. As a little girl, I had a very profound connection with nature and lived in the Forest of Dean, which gave me tremendous solace. And my grandfather, who was a miner, would be up at 4 a.m. doing his garden after he had retired. And I would often go and spend time with him. So it's like I imbued nature, and I had this connection and loved gardens. And then in my early years, I started gardening myself. I had a small holding, and I learned a lot about nutrition. I learned about the value of having fresh, healthy vegetables for good health. And in later years, then I came to train as a therapist, healer, and started working with trauma. And had clients that were extremely distressed, and for that reason I decided to set up the Healing Waters Sanctuary. It all sounds easy, but actually none of those steps were easy, because I had no financial backing and had 4 children, and just this really strong vision. And the other aspect about me is that I'm an Aquarian and I'm a visionary, and I have a deep commitment for healing on the planet. And it sounds like a tall order, but I feel very strongly drawn to give 150% plus of myself to do that work. So my whole life is dedicated working with people, through gardens, through healing. I just connect with people and do whatever I can to support them in whatever way, and help them connect to the earth and to themselves. I feel like my work is to bring heaven to earth, and earth is the body, and the heaven is our divine connection, and our connection to our divinity can only happen when our feet are in the earth and when our body is well nourished. So the gardens really are the front line of that experience. We need to feed our bodies and connect with the earth.
Wow. So can you tell us a little bit more about this trauma that you went through?
I think a huge amount of the planet, people on the planet go through similar things, is that we've had a planet totally torn with poverty and war, and especially Europe, the whole after the Second World War. I grew up in a family just post the Second World War, so a lot of poverty, and poverty breaks families, and my family was torn apart, and so I had a very difficult childhood with no carer, no particular carer, and anyone that grows up without a carer, a primary carer, suffers an incredible loss. It's a big psychic wound. So it's very hard to build relationships with that kind of psychic wound. So it meant I went into quite difficult abusive relationships, and also on top of that, I had 2 children that died after they were born, causing me a great amount of grief, and when I wanted more than anything was a connection, a child of my own to love and connect to. Mm-hmm. So the combination of those relationships, my background, the loss of my children, then I had 3 car accidents.
3 car accidents?
Yes, as well. So Spirit was really teaching me a lot, and was it necessary to have that trauma to do the work that I do today? Well, yes and no. When you experience something, when you have really been there, really lived an experience, it gives you such a depth of understanding, and for me, such an empathy to be able to really deeply relate and understand the people that come to me. And it's that empathic holding that is the healing. As well as the connections with Earth that I talked about earlier. So when you don't have to do anything, you can't fix anyone, but if you can really perceive them, if you can really empathize and hold sacred space for them, it's like the soul, like a dove, can come to peace, can begin to rest, and the body can heal.
Well, that's such an attractive thought, a sacred space.
Yes. Indeed.
I mean, it just feels right. So
yeah.
it seems to me that you enjoy and you derive great satisfaction by creating a safe and natural environment where people can come and see for themselves the beauty and harmony.
Absolutely. It's very simple. Real healing is very simple. It's about connection, and it's about being loved. It's love, and it's love, it's just a pure love to share, and love is the divine essence of the planet. We don't need any complex things. It's just about us stepping out of our fear and loving each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems to, it's almost as if people are afraid to even say the word love today.
Yes, because when we have been so traumatized, when we've been so wounded, we are living in our fear. It's very hard to reach out when you're fearful, and that is what Healing Waters is about as well. It's based on trust and openness and love, and people might be a bit surprised when they come, because I am very trusting and everything is very open. If we're in our fear, then we're disconnected. If we're in our love, then things can flow. We can flow, and we need to connect together in community. Human beings are social animals. We need to be connected. We need to work together. We need to play together.
I enjoy that idea too, to the playing element of this. So you experienced a great healing through nature.
Absolutely. When I'm in my garden, I feel like I'm making love with the earth. When I have my feet on the soil, I'm at my happiest. I just have a profound feeling of relaxation and beingness and peace, and it just gives me a tremendous solace. And listening to the birds, watching the clouds, seeing the plants grow, interacting with the plants as they grow, just seeing that vibrant energy coming, being reflected through the leaves of the plants. It's just tremendous.
Mm-hmm. And this is nothing that seems to have words, does it? I mean, if I asked you, say, hey, describe to me what's happening to you, could you tell me what's happening? Or is it something on the experiential level when you're out in nature, when you're out in the garden?
Yeah, it's much more experiential. You can put words to it, but words are very limited because it's just like you're just in your mental construct, mental body when you're putting words onto things. But it's much bigger than that. It's emotions, it's sensations, it's mind, it's spirit, it's everything connected. It's that complete connection on all levels, complete beingness.
So you created this garden initiative.
Yes.
Could you tell us how you did it and why you did it and how big it is? And
well, I bought the sanctuary. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but that came together miraculously over a 2-month period with somebody came along and helped me buy it because I didn't have a way to buy it. And then it had a 6-acre field with it with a sacred spring in the middle that I hadn't been aware of. So once I set up the sanctuary, which took about 3 years, then my next project was to set up the garden. So I had one person that was interested, and he and I came and we started together to create the first garden bed. And there are 3 big circular beds, interlocking beds, which can be seen like a mandala from the Glastonbury tour or from Google Earth. We gradually started attracting people and we formed a cooperative. So the principle of it is that people can join for £30 a year and participate in any way, even disabled people. They don't have to be gardening, they can do anything. And they have vegetables in exchange. And we have chickens and bees and orchards and the spring, of course, and it's a very loving community.
You are listening to Juliet Yelverton. We'll be right back after this message.
Authenticity comes in one flavor, the real you. For a workshop or seminar in authenticity or conflict resolution, contact www.authenticityradio.com.
Hi, I'm Pixie Lawson.
Authenticity Radio.
You are listening to Slade Sitter.
And now we return to Juliet Yelverton. And so these people, they come in, they take part of the responsibility for a section of the garden, or how does that work?
Yes, we have 3 of us are taking each one of us responsible for one of the circular beds, and then we have members that do kind of general things across the whole gardens, like somebody who takes care of keeping the grass tidy and the trees tidy, and someone who takes care of the chickens, and we have a wonderful person that works with young children, and we have a children's area, so children who are really in difficulties, family difficulties, and so on, and children of members come and do things in the children's area. They might even draw there and paint or write poetry, but last year they grew spelt, and we harvested the spelt and we made our own bread from it. It was really wonderful.
It sounds labor-intensive, too.
Yes, they ground it themselves by hand. It was really beautiful. They got so much out of doing it.
My goodness. So how big is the garden that you have? Have you measured it?
It's about an acre and a half, the part that we're actually working. It's in a 6-acre field.
Wow. We have a small garden. This is the first year that I've been actually tending a garden myself, and I am so surprised with the amount of produce that comes out of just a small lot. I could just
Absolutely.